Already Bennett for the Bennett Podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday, we get together and we have a look at the top 5 something, normally to do with Blood Bowl. Now, this year has been so far so good in the world of Blood Bowl. We've had a new team from Games Workshop, and it is a brand new team in the way of gnomes. Now, if you've been following the channel, you'll see we've had loads of gnome content, and the world is starting to catch up. So Games Workshop dropped a very cool gnome team. You've got the trees to map it out as well. And you've got some stuff, well, a star player model for it as well. But the beautiful thing, the strength of Blood Bowl, other than the great game and excellent community, is the third party options. For Blood Bowl, you need a team, right? And normally you've got a choice of team. You're like, oh, I like that one from them. I like that one from them. And you end up with multiple. It's always multiple, but that's the benefit, is you need one team of 16 guys and you generally get a choice. Now, when a brand new team drops, it takes a little while for the world to catch up. So we're now going to look at the best gnome teams, including the Games Workshop one, but primarily kind of looking at the third party teams out there. So if you want to run a gnome team, which are the best options for you kicking around? Now, we put a post out as usual on the channel to get some feedback from you guys. So let's dive in to the top 5 gnome teams. Coming in at number 5 is the Caliver 3D gnome team, their April release. So I've got the big team shot up here, but in a second we'll have a look at the My Mini Factory and see if we can get some better shots of the team themselves. So I think this was the first third-party team to drop for gnomes. There we go. Let's move over here. We can see. So this is $20 for the STLs. Now, I'm sure Caliver 3D fans can pick up this team on Etsy or something. But as we can flip through, they've gone really heavy into the gnome theme. They've gone really heavy into the garden gnome theme. Now, Caliver is not normally one of my top picks. The sculpting's fine, but it tends to be a little bit too roundy for me. And that might be because of just the way the representations are done, renders, thank you Ben, the way the renders are done. But actually this team is pretty good, very blank, very kind of, I don't want to say basic, but actually it does the job of being gnomes. However, one thing I really do like about this team is the tree men, because they are just, they're just the dudes from Super Mario Bros. The piranha plants, which I think is brilliant. So this looks like the illusionist. This is the Beastmaster. This is another illusionist. And then you've got those two chunky trees that are just, I think, really, really, really cool. I mean, I know it's Super Mario Bros. And I think there's an old like 80s sci-fi movie that has a very similar thing. There's going to be some of you out there just raging because I can't remember what it is, but I don't think I ever really saw it. So I don't think that's not entirely on me. Anyway, they've done a good job here of giving you an alternative for a gnome team, and the alternative comes with STLs. So you can pick up the team probably quite cheap, or you can print it yourself. Very basic gnomes. The foxes are fine. The illusionists are cleverly done. You've got Beastmasters, 2 of them riding around on the geeses, and then you've got those big old chunky treemen. So actually, very, very cool. I do like the treemen. The gnomes are just very basic gnomes. Now, I can't talk. I had to brew up the team on Hero Forge. I think this is probably better than what I brewed up on Hero Forge, but it's in that very similar garden gnome theme. And when you're shopping for a gnome team, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Number 4, it's Grebo Games. So the timing of this one is a little bit squiffy, because their Kickstarter is currently live as I'm recording this, just for a few more hours. But the way Grebo do things, they do this really well. Grebo and Ware Games, they get the stuff out really quick, and they get that stuff up for resale really quick. There are a few other companies that do Kickstarters, and it takes you a little while for that stuff to get to general release. Not the case here. So this is the Guardians of the Garden. We love that. 358 backers at the moment, 4 hours to go. 37, yeah, they've crushed the goal. So they've done a really good job here. Let's scroll down and have a look at the team. And I'll tell you what, let's open the image in the new tab so that we can go and have a look at that in a second, because I think if we do, no, this is fine. Here we go. So we can get a good shot of the gnomes. Now, they have got very, very, very pointy hats. And if we look at the price here, Looks like it's going to be 158 euros when they're up for retail, but 85 for the Kickstarter. But again, we've missed that. 9 linemen, 2 tricksters, 2 foxes, 2 breeders, which are your beastmasters, and 2 times treemen, and a whole bunch of stretch goals. Now, the trees. And actually, the whole vibe of this team, it's the most Christmassy of the gnome teams, and it could just be the paint job, but they've got the long pointy but also floppy kind of, they're like elf shoes, like Christmas elf shoes. This whole thing has got Christmas vibes in my opinion. However, it is Grebo, and their sculpting is always very, very, very good. There's always a ton of details. I mean, just look at, let's zoom in, look at this tree man. Okay, you've got all the individual branches, you've got the tree man's face detail, you've got the mushroom detail on the base, you've got a gnome there, it's got some armor plates, there's an eagle trying to get the gnome. Actually, the eagle and the gnome are battling over the ball in the center, which is very, very, very cool. That's just one tree man. We did a review of the Snoog team for them. I think it was the last time we got one of their teams to do a review. And the details it's just very, very voluminous. And they do a very, very, very good job of all of it. So here's 2 of your beastmasters, the breeders. One's got loads of chicks, one's got the badger. Again, exactly, well, and there's a chicken and a chick. That is a ton. That is a ton of detail. So I'm actually going to ping them a little bit. This is why they're number 4. When you're painting a Blood Bowl team, you want it to look good, and sometimes you don't want too much detail. And when it comes to Grebo, this is phenomenal. This is a diorama for one of your players, and they are all like that. I think it's fantastic, and I mean, that's a goat, not a badger. But you get your money's worth when it comes to detail and quality with Grebo, without a shadow of a doubt. If you're a speed painter, it's a bit of a struggle sometimes. If you're a pro painter, well, depends on how you want to do it. Right, there's one of the tricksters, and there's the other trickster, which I think is phenomenal. So he's actually got a ghost version of himself, which is just brilliant. Again, another diorama of positional. The foxes are perfect. That one there looks like you could pick it up in a forest trust, English heritage kind of place. And then you've got a ton of gnomes. And the gnomes are just absolutely gnome-like. They've got cartoony faces, they've got insanely cartoony hats. The hats defy all gravity. Now, this is not a game that's heavily based in logic because there are trolls throwing touchdowns. But no, that's not fair. There are trolls throwing goblins who are scoring touchdowns, which is potentially even more ridiculous. None of that is as ridiculous as those hats. That is absolutely phenomenal. But I mean, again, you see all this detail, all this, it's just very, very, very remarkable. And it's Grebo Games, and you can guarantee they're going to deliver on time with a ton of cool stuff. Now, the downside is this is currently on Kickstarter, so if you're looking to pick it up, as this video comes out, you have got -1 day to back it on Kickstarter. So you're going to have to wait for Grebo Games to have it on general release. But like I said, they're very fast. So if this team does take your fancy, it won't be long before it's up for general release. Number 4, Grebo Games. Number 3, it's Ugni. So Ugni do some phenomenal sculpts. They are a Patreon/tribe that does STLs. And full disclosure, we do have this team up on our shop as this video is going live, because thanks to Trips, Ben and Milton, who are all going to be dispatching orders and printing stuff as well. Trips is going to be admin. We're all going to be doing the printing and dispatching. The shop is now back online. So we're going to have, this will be up available. The trees will be up available separately as well. So you can get them from us, or you can get the STLs. There are other places on Etsy. There are all kinds of places that you can pick up a team if you want a team. Now, they have gone with a very cool, and I think, I want to say unique. There we go. Let's go for this one here. Style. So gnomes. When we heard that gnomes were coming, everyone went to look at the stunty teams in the Super League on Fumble, because there was a gnome team. Gnomes are tinkerers and engineers. Like, that's kind of the historical vibe. The Games Workshop gnomes are woodland gnomes. That's kind of their thing. They're woodland magic. But Ugni's gone, you know what? Gnomes, for me, gnome tinkerers. That's what they are. They build things. They are engineers. And they've gone full steampunk with this team. And this is why this is number 3. For 2 reasons. Well, for good and for bad. the steampunk aesthetic has allowed them to sculpt a steampunk fox. Everybody's got goggles, extra arm bits. They've gone so heavy into the detail and heavy into the theme that it's allowed them to be really, really, really creative with every single sculpt here. Then you've got the mecha trees. So here's one, which is a steam tree man. Chef's kiss, so cool. And here is the other. Now the benefit of this is if you don't want to use the Games Workshop trees, you can pick up a pair of these trees and they will fit close enough in with the Games Workshop gnome team, because although this guy's got goggles, other than that, actually the gnome element could work with anybody, which is nice. But also, if you're just running this team as it is, you get 2 mecha trees, which is it's just outrageous. And I love the sculpts. I'm not a huge steampunk fan. I'm not a huge steampunk guy, but the execution is phenomenal. And this looks like a really fun team to paint. So I'm a big fan of this. Their star players they've just dropped this month as well are very good too. So actually, gotta give them, like, this team was out last month and it is fully ready to go. So number 3, Ugly Gnomes, the steampunk ones. Number 2, it's the Punga Gnomes, the Garden Blinders. Okay, so Ugly went hard into the steampunk theme and Punga went hard into the Peaky Blinders theme, which quite an odd one to go with. However, the beautiful thing about this is that they've got generic enough clothes that they just look like country dudes. They just look kind of like hobbits. So actually, all right, they've got the flat caps and the pipes, but actually the pipes fit in very nicely with a fantasy aesthetic. And the flat caps, do you know what? I'm from the New Forest. Farmers and country folk wear flat caps. The only thing missing from this is Range Rovers. But, I mean, that all aside, the team is outrageously beautifully sculpted. Again, I want to say this is available in the shop, but again, you can get it from several other places, and you can print it yourself, obviously, because it's an STL. But the team is brilliant. We talked about the extra levels of detail that Grebo go to. For example, the Beastmaster. There's got the Beastmaster, a chicken, and 75 little chicks. Incredible. These guys, they take your paints a little easier, and I personally prefer that because it means you can get the team on the pitch looking good a lot quicker. And then if you're pro, you can go and add all the details you want. I think they do a really good job of gauging that middle ground for detail. That said, that turkey is terrifying and has got plenty of detail. It just reminds me of the old South Park game on the Nintendo 64. that was a corker of a game. Right, anyway, Beastmaster, you've got a turkey guy, you've got a lad on a pig, and the pig does come with a little pigling. You've got a fox stealing some sausages, and I think there is a second fox, but oh yeah, there he is. He's up there sneaking off with the ball. There is a month 2 part here where you've got the 2 trees as well, because you will need trees when it comes to this team, and the star players. So this is the best Rodney proxy. It is the best Rodney proxy out there. Yes, he's got a flat cap, but Rodney is, I think, out of stock at the moment on Forge World. This guy is on our site and other sites as a 3D print model for significantly cheaper than Forge World. I think it's £6 on our site. So actually, that's just a no-brainer. And you've got Romana there as well. And these guys just flesh out the team. You've got some fun little cheerleaders. Then you've got the trees. Now, the trees are not the best trees, but they're not the worst trees. They fit the team aesthetic fine. And the cool thing about them, which I do like, is they will take OSL really well. So the object source lighting, you give them glowy eyes or a glowy inside of the mouth. One's got a little sign for the number. One's got an empty mouth with coins on the inside from the looks of it, which is very, very, very cool. So, I mean, yes, the Peaky Blinder theme was interesting. It was not what I was expecting, but it might be slightly better than Pirates. So Punga have kind of gone the direction of Pirates repeatedly in the past. This was not Pirates. It was not Chaos. It was Victorian England. Don't know, was that Victorian? Industrial England. Anyway, Garden Blinders, Punga, number 2. But I would be remiss, based on the comments that we've had on the Top 5 Friday post, if I didn't just leave the Games Workshop team number 1. Because it is fantastic. It is the OG the OG Gnome team. Like, there was not a Gnome team before this, basically. And if you have been excited by the landing of the new team and the potential and all of the, ooh, what does the witch piece do? Why is there a badger? The fox, what does the fox do? If you like the excitement of that, then this team, the Games Workshop one, is going to be the one that you are drawn to. The detail is great. It's good on detail without being too much detail. The sculpts are fun. They've done a good job with interplay of some of the pieces. So you can see we've got the 2 foxes here, where it's the same model, but they've got a different head, for example. You've got the tricksters, you've got alternate pieces. And what that does do is, for the most part, with the Gnome linemen, they don't look so duplicated. The Beastmaster's the only one that's a bit of a struggle because he's in the same kind of left fist up pose. But when it comes to your positionals, it's not the worst thing in the world. And quite frankly, you do get quite a mix of woodland creatures. So even though, yes, the Beastmasters are both doing this, they are also differentiated significantly by the differences between a badger and a goose, which are many. So love that. And the fact the kit comes with a pair of badgers and a pair of geese and a pair of fox gives you just that flexibility. Now, Games Workshop, so yes, the team here is 30 something pounds, and the Ugni team and the Punga team are only a little bit more to pick up with big guys, and you do have to add the big guys. But as far as sculpting and theme, Games Workshop crushed it on this one, and you cannot top it. You cannot top it. And if you get a chance, support your local friendly gaming store and pick this up and pick your trees up. But if you want different trees, you can pick up the trees that you want. Punga do some cool ones. They've got the Peaky Blinders ones. They've got the ones from the Halfling team with the anchors, like the boat-themed one. You've got the Chaos-themed treeman. You've got Agni's treeman, one with a moustache, one without a moustache. And then you've got their mecha gnome trees as well. There's just a ton of things. And that's the cool thing about this team, is when it comes to the Games Workshop one, you pick up the box, you've got all the positionals, all you got to do is add some treemen. Now, going the Games Workshop route, that is me saying all you got to do is spend £40. But it also frees you up to kind of pick and choose what you want while having very, very, very good models and some very good sculpts. The last call out, I will say, even though the theme is perfect, they do come in a myriad of pieces. So it was quite funny watching Ben and Milton build the Gnome team very, very quickly, because some of these guys are in a lot of pieces. And the benefit of some of the other 3D printed teams are that they are in one piece, assuming we've shipped them safely. Fingers crossed. But I don't think I could put any of the other teams above this one. If Punga or Ugni had gone, do you know what, I'm going to make a gnome team that is fantasy gnomes, then they would win. But we went Peaky Blinders, we went steampunk, the quality's there, and that means that the top 3 teams alone, all excellent quality, all excellent sculpts, you just get to choose, and that's where third party belongs. Games Workshop doing the Games Workshop thing, and your third parties being an alternate theme and an alternate style to give you an alternate. Not just, hey, here's a Games Workshop team at half the price. That's not the best thing to do, because Games Workshop have done a great job with this team, and it would just be redundant. Do you know what? I'm going to stop talking. They're all great teams. Let me know what your favourite is, and we'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy, well, it's not dodging, is it? Happy rumping, I suppose. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube Members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.